Chapter 31. The Background of the Four Gates. When Su Cheng arrived at the police station, he finally realized why the instructor had kindly helped him change his patrol area. It turned out that young Master Yun and the others' parents had finally managed to work their connections to get their kids out of there. The upper management probably thought that since they had already detained the rich heirs for 3 days, the young masters had probably learned their lessons already and were ready to be released. When Su Cheng came over for his shift, a group of lawyers was also there to sign the bail and release documents. Young Master Yun and the others all came out from the cell and were stretching their muscles. Upon seeing Su Cheng walking in, the 12 of them came over and blocked Su Cheng's way to the changing room. The officer on duty shouted, "What are you guys doing?" Of course, these people would try to screw with Su Cheng in broad daylight at the station, but even if they tried, they wouldn't be able to anyways. So, young Master Yun deepened his voice and said, staring at Su Cheng, "I hope you still have the balls to take night shifts." Su Cheng, however, couldn't care less. "I hope you can correct your attitude. Next time you come for a visit, it probably won't be just for 3 days. The other young masters on the side snorted, "You better not wuss out. We got time, let's wait and see what happens." Young Master Yun was worried that the trash talk was not enough to shake Su Cheng, so he especially added, "I heard that you were transferred to the Western District? That's good, don't let me see you in the West area. You done?" Su Cheng looked at the group impatiently, and then he turned around and looked at their lawyers. "Look after your clients, or I will take them in right now for threatening a police officer." The lawyers' faces grew awkward and they immediately shot their young masters a look. Young Master Yun and the others just sneered as they walked out of the bureau, driving away in their sports cars that had also been detained that night. Su Cheng went to the instructor's office. Seeing him come in, the instructor smiled as he got up and patted Su Cheng's shoulder. "We know that this group of kids will try different ways to teach you a lesson, and we were concerned that this issue might bring you too much pressure, so we listened to their advice and let them go. After all, they were detained for 3 days already, it's good enough for their first time. Also, assigning you to the Western District wasn't because you didn't do a good job in your previous area, but we are just concerned that those people will be impulsive and do something to you. Don't overthink it." "I know, but why are we scared of this group of people?" Su Cheng asked. The instructor sighed and answered, "These people aren't scary, but the people from the Four Gates are. We aren't afraid of big criminals, but we don't want to be entangled by the little ones. You might not know the trouble they bring. These people didn't commit too serious of a crime, so they would have to be released anyways after being detained for a few days. But what happens then? They will definitely keep their eyes on you and your family every day, affecting your lives. Besides, the Four Gates still have influence around here. Under normal circumstances, departments like ours aren't high enough in level to touch them yet, got it? They are the criminal police department's problem, we just need to take care of the daily lives of the citizens. The natures of our jobs are different." Su Cheng sat down and asked in curiosity, "What's really so scary about the Four Gates? Why can't gangs like them be eliminated?" "That question only shows that you are underestimating the Four Gates." The instructor bitterly smiled. "They are powerful because of what they relied on to perfectly transition from black to white, allowing them to stay alive until now. The East Gate controls the shipping ports. Even in the old fisherman days, they had already taken control over the harbor areas, and when they began to transition to lawful business, trade became the most important bargaining chip. If they collapse and the vast port area can't find someone to take over immediately, the entire overseas trade transportation industry of Shangcheng will face a big stagnation problem, which is very serious. In addition, Shangcheng is the only city in the country that gives out formal casino licenses. Of the 9 large casinos in the city, at least 6 of them provide formal income for Westgate. Su Cheng narrowed his eyes. These industries were indeed massive. The instructor continued, Southgate has control over the seaside and riverside restaurants and the seafood industry in Shangcheng. You know the 10-kilometer-long area on both sides of the Pujiang River that contains the most high-end food streets in Shangcheng, right? Those are all businesses under Southgate. Last and the least, Northgate is doing the worst, having not accomplished much other than continuing to do what they used to do, which is just operating nightclubs. So, Northgate is also the poorest among them all. However, since they are short on money, they care less about their image and are usually the most annoying. They can't feed themselves, so many of their members often come out to take some private work. Since you entangled yourself with people from Northgate, we became worried, and that's why we assigned you to the west side for patrolling. Su Cheng nodded, now having a general understanding of the 4 gates. Just those industries mentioned by the instructor alone were not simple to deal with. If the government really decided to crack down on them, the impact really would be too great. Besides, these 4 gates already underwent a perfect transition, so they wouldn't leave behind evidence of any unlawful practices that could pose a threat to the higher-ups in their organization. They would usually throw little shrimps for the police to catch and do some work on the surface. I see, I will follow the Bureau's arrangement, Su Cheng said. The instructor patted him on the shoulder and couldn't help but throw in a few compliments. I respect a fellow like you. An officer shouldn't be scared of getting into trouble. To be honest, the officers that made it this far are all old fritters, and you are the first one that actually dared to stand up and play those young masters like this. Our brothers and I were all feeling pretty awesome watching how you taught them a lesson. This time, our higher-ups actually stood on our bureau's side as well. Also, to let you in on a secret, this time the city bureau complimented our director for everything that happened, but the people and achievements were brought in by you, so the director is very grateful to you and also sees the potential in you. Do a good job, don't let us down. Su Cheng actually didn't really care too much about that. He just nodded, of course. And if there's nothing else, I will go on patrol now. Su Cheng went out with his colleagues to their motorcycles, but he had to go back in to grab his helmet. When his colleagues all left and he was about to, young Master Yun and his fellows blocked the way with 2 cars. Young Master Yun rolled down the window and said coldly to Su Cheng, I will make you regret becoming a patrol officer. Su Cheng wasn't bothered at all as he replied, not a problem, I will teach you how to be a better person. If 1 year doesn't work, then you can stay in prison for 3 years. If 3 years doesn't work, then 10 years. As long as you want, I can accompany you. Young Master Yun rolled up the window and left. Su Cheng's colleagues drove back and saw the scene, so they came over, a little bit concerned. You wanna drive a car to patrol? Motorcycles aren't safe. We are on the nation's land, how can it be unsafe? This isn't like the old times anymore. Su Cheng shook his head and said indifferently, I will just deal with whatever comes my way. Then, he ignited the engine and rode off. In the sports car not far away, young Master Yun was burning with rage as he watched Su Cheng drive off. He went to Westgate's territory to patrol, so it's out of Northgate's control. Now, even though they took the money, they can't do anything about him anymore. Brother Yun, what should we do? A young master on the passenger seat said. Young Master Yun replied, we will get the 4 young masters of Shangcheng to deal with him. We will see if he has the balls to offend the big 4 young masters as well.